Superhero movies have dominated the box office, but it's rare for them to be honored with nominations in the major Academy Awards categories, let alone the biggest one of all. With that in mind, here's a look at how Black Panther made history and how this marks a turning point for the Oscars.
This never gets old.
We've all become accustomed to Marvel's refusal to settle for superficial storylines in their films. There's no shortage of modern action movies that end up feeling like little more than an excuse to unload a pile of cash on CGI and special effects. The MCU, on the other hand, has figured out how to combine large-scale effects with meaningful plots, deep drama, and complex characters. Nowhere is this more apparent than in Black Panther. Black Panther's on-screen arc started in Captain America: Civil War, which led to the solo film beginning with T'Challa already having taken up the mantle of the hero of Wakanda. Black Panther was still essentially an origin story, marking the true beginning of the King of Wakanda's story. As the story unfolded, it didn't skimp on the drama either, continuing to evolve T'Challa's persona as he struggled with his past, revelations regarding his father, and the repercussions of long-held family secrets. From personal storylines to the introduction of Wakanda, the film's story was masterfully told, and the film's nominations will only pave the way for future superhero films of the same caliber to earn the Academy's attention. Even the best scripts can often feel pointless if they aren't brought to life by quality acting, and Black Panther knocked this one out of the park in spades. Front and center, of course, we have the lovable yet tough Chadwick Boseman, who was able to depict T'Challa as a character with a fierceness of resolve. But along with that, he also brought a depth of feeling, understanding, and complexity that helped elevate the entire movie. Of course, Boseman's supporting cast was also filled with talented actors, modern cinema staples like Andy Serkis, who played returning villain Ulysses Klaue.
You can go, but just don't tell anyone, all right?
The film also featured up-and-coming stars like Letitia Wright, who delivered a memorable performance as T'Challa's sister Shuri. And then there's Michael B. Jordan, whose Killmonger isn't just impressive, he's heart-wrenching. In just over 2 hours, Jordan managed to create a personality that rivals the multi-movie character arc of Loki and the dramatic complexity of Thanos. Few would argue that the movie's long list of quality performances was another crucial factor that launched the film into the Academy's ballots. While acting, directing, and storytelling are all aspects of the film that weren't specifically honored by the Academy Awards, a quick glance at the various nominations continues to reveal just how thoroughly the movie left its impact. 2 of the nominations came for sound editing and sound mixing, and it racked up 2 more for original score and original song. The quartet speaks for itself. The audible experience of Black Panther, from the sound effects to the music, was superbly executed.
Wakanda forever! Wakanda forever!
2 more nominations were landed in the categories of production design and costume design, both of which speak to the film's impressive array of scenery and clothing. All of these recognitions are neatly wrapped up with the Best Picture nomination, which puts a bow on one of the most accomplished chapters in the MCU. While arguments can be made for previous Marvel films that might have been the first to receive the honor of a Best Picture nomination, there's no question that Black Panther deserved the nod on its own merits. It's hard to believe that heading into the 2019 Oscar ceremony, the DCEU has won more Oscars than the MCU by a whopping score of 1-0, with that lone win coming in the form of makeup and hairstyling for everyone's favorite Oscar winner, Suicide Squad.
And?
But while the 2 comic universes have certainly received the short end of the stick, there have been a handful of awards over the decades given to several superhero classics. Perhaps the nearest and dearest to the heart of Marvel fans was Spider-Man 2, which won an award for its visual effects. Several years before Suicide Squad, comic fans were also thrilled to see The Dark Knight win 2 Academy Awards, one for editing and one for Best Supporting Actor, an honor posthumously given to Heath Ledger for his performance as the Joker. However, while the 2 awards were in many ways a seminal moment for the superhero genre in the Academy's history, perhaps the greatest impact came from the fact that the film wasn't nominated for Best Picture. The perceived injustice became a rallying point for comic fans, in many ways helping pave the way for the achievement that Black Panther finally realized. It's this issue over Best Picture nominations that has stuck in the craw of so many comics fans over the years. While there is at least a semi-reasonable track record of nominations and wins for technical categories like makeup, sound editing, and special effects, there has always been a serious lack of attention for comic book adaptations in the Best Picture category. While films like The Dark Knight began to shift the conversation from an if to more of a when, the success of other genres should be taken into account when tracing the path leading to Black Panther's historic success. For example, it was considered outlandish when the classic animated film Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture in the early 90s, and yet since then we've seen films like Up and Toy Story 3 follow in its footsteps, proving that the premise isn't as important as the heart that holds it up. Then there's the fantasy epic Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, which dominated the 76th Academy Awards with a clean sweep, winning all 11 of the Oscars it was nominated for. While comics trailblazers have done their part over time, the little victories along the way, like the success of Peter Jackson's monumental trilogy of Tolkien adaptations, have certainly helped reshape the landscape, setting the stage for the Best Picture nomination that finally took superhero movies to the next level of acclaim. After all, let's not forget that 2018's Best Picture winner was a movie about a fish god. Why not one about a guy who dresses like a cat? Another factor behind the gradual acceptance of comic book and superhero-based movies comes from a certain level of cinematic maturation that has taken place over the years. It's safe to say that past superhero films have been, well, kind of cheesy. The MCU has been a major factor in pushing the genre to a more mature level. After a long incubation period that saw characters like Tony Stark, Thor, and Captain America finding their stride, the modern concept of a superhero movie has certainly come a long way. As the MCU has evolved, it's played on a bigger canvas and grasped at loftier ambitions as well as more complex character arcs. This has naturally pushed the end product to higher levels. While that initial growth culminated with Black Panther's recognition by the Academy, it's only a matter of time before we see even more mature, more accomplished superhero films, and see more of them reach the Oscars podium. There are many reasons Black Panther broke through the barrier of acceptance with the world's most prestigious award ceremony. The combination of timing and quality has launched director Ryan Coogler's creation into the spotlight as it vies for recognition that has been denied to so many worthy superhero films before. The most exciting part of 2019's Academy Awards, however, is what it might lead to next. The final acceptance of superhero movies as award-worthy entertainment has further opened the doors for serious filmmakers and artists to genuinely invest themselves into their comics-to-screen adaptations, not only in hopes of garnering the adulation of the fans, but of possibly winning a nice shiny Oscar while they're at it. There's only one thing to say about that kind of future.
Let the challenge begin!
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite superheroes are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.